Alright, hi everybody, it's Bonkai922, here to bring you History's Strongest Disciple, Kenichi. Now, they did be translated on Manga Stream, which I'm happy about. And this is on the Super Bowl, it's Super Bowl Sunday, 555, pretty much. Well, I actually like this chapter. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. I really do like this chapter because in this chapter, two characters are referred to being like somebody else on both sides of the fence. Now, pretty much, the name of this chapter, I believe, was called, let me just try to find it. Yeah, it was called Separate Unit. Now, essentially, what's about to go down is we have the Hanchimbo, the weapons team, and the non-weapons team going at it. Now, essentially, I didn't know that this was going to be on two fronts. In other words, I thought this was really just going to be the Masters going against Masters. No. The Disciples are getting involved as well. Now, I believe I said this last week, they replaced the people on the Disciple side, of the Disciples of the Shadow Fists. They replaced those people. So in other words, Odin was replaced by somebody and that girl was replaced by somebody. That was from last week. Now, basically the beginning part of this chapter, we have Saiga. And he's basically saying, saying that the guy was with him, which, part of the weapons team, saying the one glaring exception being that this time our enemy is the entire world. Saying the time is nigh to Mr. Chia, which is Saiga. He says, indeed, it is the Third World War. And they're basically greenlighting the usage of prototype war gear. And basically it's the title page and it says Separate Unit. And this is when we get this guy, this disciple, who confronts Shigure, who's naked, It's ridiculous. He's been naked the entire time, just arc. And basically, what has transpired here is he seemingly is talking to her, this whole conversation with her, and he lets her go. Because he informs her, to Shigure, that apparently the masters of the weapons team decided to let you go. Yeah. And he's there, and he's basically shocked because he's not wearing clothes. Thanks for the warning. And he basically says, looks like your aura is nothing compared to Tenzaiba, which, the weapons team. Truth is, I was secretly hoping to test my strength against all the strongest disciples of the big shots around here. And he's asking, which disciple are you? And he says, now this is kind of funny, what he says, because I thought to myself when I heard this, interesting. He is the disciple of Saiga. That's not the only thing. He has two masters. And not only that, he apparently is just like Kenichi. So there was a lot of surprises in this conversation. And, he's talking to Shigure in there, flapping the gums about it. And he's asking, are you true that your strongest disciple, Kenichi, has been trained by 5 masters? And he says, well, I'm one of them. And he says, oh, he must be a whiz kid trained by 5 masters. And with a bunch of, saying that he has natural instinct and strength. And he's like, actually, he possesses neither. And he's like, I see, so the rumors are true. Ryon Sanpaku's pet project is indeed a good old-fashioned blue-collar worker. And he then explains to Shigure, says, I, too, have been like that. I've been trained by 2 masters, and I have no talent either. Saying that he had to cut my teeth by training my ass off, fighting numerous battles. And he says to think that, he's basically saying, to think that, I'll be able to fight somebody that's exactly like me. It's a pity we didn't meet under different circumstances. And saying that the war is about to engulf, it will be unlike any other. I hope when the dust settles, we'll cross paths again. And then she asks him, why are you helping me? One of my masters gave me the order. With the number of masters walking around, you won't have an easy time of it, but please try and make do. Just so you know, everyone in the weapons department signed the petition to have your life spared. And saying that you can't be bad and that bad in my opinion if everyone else is, went over everything else. And she says, this kid reminds me of him. So, this guy, who talked to Shigure in the beginning of this chapter, to her, reminds her of Kenichi. And this actually makes kind of sense if Kenichi fights him. Because, truth be told, when you think about it, the ones who fought Kenichi before they're there are Berserker and Tanimono. I would say this guy is probably going to fight Kenichi. Yeah. Now, the question remains, is all the weapons team going to fight them? They're outnumbered here. Same could be said with the Masters. Hopefully, Ayato gets back. But seems to me like this guy's going to end up fighting. Then we get another page where they're all standing there, ready to do battle, supposedly. Now, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You got 8 people for the non-weapons team. And you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people for the weapons team. So that's like a total of god damn, that's a lot of people. So it should be interesting to see how this all goes down. And then we go from that to inside what it seems to be, I might as well just tell you guys, they're in a submarine. And this is the other thing I wanted to bring up. Akamoto reminds Miyu and Kenichi of the Masters of Ryon Sanpaku. So, those were the 2 things in this chapter that came to fruition. You have 2 people that act like someone else that they remind them of. Akamoto for Kenichi and Miyu. Akamoto acts like the Masters of Ryon Sanpaku, and to Shigure, this disciple reminds her of Kenichi. And basically they're just training in the submarine, ready to go do battle. They're all there. They're a little upset that there's not that much room. And Akamoto is basically training them. This guy's pretty boss, Akamoto. he's like taking them out pretty badly and just training them and stuff. He throws Kisara to Kenichi and he grabs her and he touches her and then Ryu just gets him. It was pretty interesting. And also we see, what's his face? Siegfried talking about him, saying that he's, not your run-of-the-mill agent miscreant. He's very adaptive to martial arts. So, and then he brings up that they're going to do some anti-weapons drills, and he does it, and they start training with that. And he did this other crazy move. He did Perilous Thousand Tree Shrine Wheel. So this guy is no joke. He's pretty boss. Akamoto. But he does these drills with them. And they're basically, I already said it, they're in a submarine. And they're doing all these drills. And it's pretty interesting to see that he's this adaptive, this guy. So I'm pretty sure that the whole question he asked Kenichi was, he was asking for his help and his friend's help. And Miyu's laughing, and then we go on the next page, and she's basically saying, isn't he like everyone at Ryo Zanpaku? And he's like saying, doesn't know that he's a rolling bag is what you mean. And Kenichi basically stating to himself he didn't believe that Akamoto would want them all to get involved in this war. Figured that he was going to just, leave them behind. But the fact of the matter is, the reason why they're targeting Japan. So it's best to be there than Japan. Because if they're in Japan, they'll just get annihilated. So that was the whole bit. And then Kenichi's basically saying, is everyone certain this is what you want to do? They're all looking at him with smiles. And Nejima is basically informing him, there's nothing to be afraid of. We got Ryo Zanpaku on our side. Some formidable allies. And saying the whole thing about Japan. And then you see Kisara complaining that they're in the cramped space and can't train. And Nejima basically tells him, no point in crying about it. I mean, we are at the bottom of the sea. And on the sides it says Ryo Zanpaku lands, Kenichi and the others train to play their part in the plan. The fight has only begun as the disciples prepare to join the fireworks. So, that's pretty much what went down in this chapter. Now, I have to say, I like it. I definitely see Kenichi fighting that guy. This might be a very good fight, and I mean this. I'll tell you why. Just the fact that Shigure is feeling that this guy acts like Kenichi is a kickstarter for this arc, for this war. Now, I would love to know how the disciples are going to go in there and fight like 16 people. Because there's like 7 or 8 of them, and they have 16 people. I guess it'll be more like they fight the non-weapons team first, then they fight the weapons team. I wonder about it, but this should be interesting. 4 out of 5 for this. Like the similarity between this guy who Shigure was talking to Kenichi, and how Akamoto, he's no slouch. This guy's no slouch. He knows martial arts. He's training them. This is pretty beast. This should be interesting for next week when the fighting starts. The only thing is, Elder Man, Superman Faringi needs to get his ass in gear. Because I tell you right now, if he were to get to there, that would be a huge help. Massive help. They would probably be able to put a bigger dent in Yomi, in the darkness, in the weapons team, than if they didn't have him. So, we shall see. Should be interesting. Like this chapter. Tell me what you guys think. Comments below. 4 out of 5. Seeing as how it's the Super Bowl today, I don't know if I'm going to be doing a lot of videos. It's probably just, I'm doing this, and I'm probably just going to do Strike the Blood. I heard One Piece was, ugh. But not in a bad way. They said that the pacing was off. I'm like, hey, this is what happens when, it gets too close to the manga. You have to do it this way. So. But anyway, that's the story, people. Bankai 922. See you guys later. Other videos for Titans of Darkness. It's 4 reviews I have to do for the Kentaro manga thing. I'll try taking care of that on to Sunday. Maybe Monday. We shall see. I have 2 other video ideas I need to do. Plus, I think I got to do a Kamiya Hero. But I might wait for that for tomorrow. Maybe today. I'll take care of that. So, yeah. I'm Bankai922. I'll see you guys later. See what these disciples can do. This is going to be a massive war. Massive. Massive. Should be interesting. See ya.